Purple Rain and Passionate Affairs. Prince didn't just sing about love, he lived it. Welcome to Celeb Love. Let's take you through every woman who inspired the legend. First on the list, we have Jill Jones in the early 1980s. In 1980, 18-year-old singer and actress Jill Jones met Prince for the first time. He saw potential in her and brought her to Sunset Sound Studios in 1982. By 1984, she made a brief but memorable appearance in Purple Rain as a waitress at First Avenue. She had already become part of his world, singing background vocals on his 1999 album.
So if I gotta die, I'm gonna listen to my body tonight.
Their relationship was both professional and romantic, and Jill eventually moved to Minneapolis to be closer to Prince, and their relationship grew. Her big break came in 1987, when Prince helped her release her debut solo album, Jill Jones, under his Paisley Park label. Though they later parted ways, Jill remained grateful. When Prince died in 2016, she honored him through a heartfelt tribute song, I Miss You.
I've been sitting here a while, having a moment, thinking about all the times we shared.
But then came a new muse, one who would change everything about Prince's next chapter. At number 2 on the list, we have Vanity, Denise Matthews, from 1981 to 1983. Vanity, born Denise Matthews, met Prince in the early 80s. He was already plotting an all-girl group, originally called the Hookers, meant to embody his wild, sexy, unapologetic energy. But when Denise walked in, everything changed. He tried naming her Vagina. Yes, really. She refused. So, Vanity it was. Their first single, He's So Dull, dropped in 1982. And soon, they were opening for Prince's 1999 tour. He even picked her as his love interest for the Purple Rain movie. But then, just like that, it was over. By 1983, they split. Some say it was the pressure, the control, the chaos. Others say it was due to her severe drug use. Years after, Denise dropped the name Vanity, and she passed away in 2016. After Vanity left the stage and the spotlight, Prince needed a new leading lady, both on and off screen. At number 3 on the list, we have Apollonia Kotero, from 1983 to 1984. Prince handpicked Apollonia to front the girl group Apollonia 6 for the movie, and although rumors swirled about a real-life romance, she insisted they were never more than close friends. We were family, she says. We trusted each other completely. That's not to say she never felt a flicker of attraction. One time, he was on stage performing Computer Blue, shirtless, covered in oil, and I thought, okay, he's definitely sexy, she laughed. But I snapped out of it quick. Our chemistry was electric, but the romance stayed on screen. Over the years, they stayed in touch through late-night calls and visits to each other's homes. While Apollonia was a friend, Prince's next connection was something else, brief, electric, and deeply reflective. At number 4 on the list is Sherilyn Fenn, 1984. Before Twin Peaks made her a star, Sherilyn Fenn had a brief but unforgettable fling with Prince. Years later, she wrote about how surreal it felt being around him. Prince had this way of making her see herself differently, like he recognized something in her she hadn't even discovered yet. Their romance didn't last long, but they stayed close friends. When Prince passed, Fenn summed up what so many felt. There will only ever be one Prince. At number 5 on the list, Susannah Melvoin, from 1984 to 1986. Susannah Melvoin's biggest claim to fame was her deep, complicated relationship with Prince. He wrote Nothing Compares to You about her. For 2 years, flowers showed up at her door like clockwork. Tracks like If I Was Your Girlfriend, Empty Room, and Crystal Ball were all born from their intense romance. During the filming of Under the Cherry Moon in Paris, Susannah was supposed to star in it, until Prince woke her up one day and dropped a bombshell. I don't want you to be in the film. I want you to be my wife. Just like that, they were engaged. It unfortunately didn't last, but Susannah wouldn't change a thing. I felt blessed, she said, to have a working relationship with him and then one that was intimate at the same time. As his music evolved, so did his heart, and that's where Sheila E enters the story. At number 6 on the list, Sheila E, from 1985 to 1989. The two met back in 1977 after one of her performances, and Prince was instantly hooked. They sparked a romance, collaborated on hits like Let's Go Crazy, and she even joined him on the Purple Rain tour as his opener. Prince also co-wrote her sultry solo smash, A Love Bazaar, sealing their creative and personal bond. Things got serious in the late 80s when they got engaged during Prince's Love Sexy tour, but by the end of 1989, Sheila called it off. At number 7, Anna Fantastic, in the late 1980s. Anna Garcia, better known as Anna Fantastic, a nickname Prince gave her, was just 15 when she met the legendary musician at his London concert. By 17, she was living with him in Minneapolis. On her 18th birthday, Prince gifted her a pink cashmere coat, which inspired his 1993 song Pink Cashmere. Their romance fizzled when Anna moved back to England, then to Holland. "We never really broke up. I just left, had a kid, and life took over," she said. Looking back, she called Prince her first love. At number 8 on the list, Kim Basinger, from 1989 to 1990. Kim Basinger played Vicky Vale in Batman, which led her straight to Prince, who was working on the film's soundtrack. Sparks flew. Rumor has it, she even ditched Hollywood for a while to crash at his place in Minneapolis. Prince secretly produced an album for her, Hollywood Affair, which never officially dropped but somehow leaked years later. Then there's Scandalous Sex Suite, a steamy remix of his Batman track, where Basinger purrs spoken word lines. People swore those moans weren't acting. At number 9, Martika, in the early 1990s. People love to gossip about Prince's love life, and Martika's name often gets tossed into the mix. The 80s pop star worked with him on her 1991 hit, Love Thy Will Be Done, but that's where their connection ended. Fans whispered that there was more between them, especially since Prince recorded Open Book, an unreleased track rumored to be about her. But Martika shrugged it off. At number 10 is Tatiana Thumbtzen, in the early 1990s. In the spring of 1989, Tatiana Thumbtzen, also known for her role in Michael Jackson's The Way You Make Me Feel music video, danced with Prince on her 29th birthday, but their connection didn't end on the dance floor. Eventually, they ended up at his hotel suite at the Sunset Marquis. Though the atmosphere could have turned romantic, their night was surprisingly innocent. They continued speaking on the phone over the following weeks, often in the early hours of the morning. However, their connection began to fade. At a club weeks later, Tatiana saw him again, this time surrounded by other women. When she asked if he was dating anyone, his cryptic reply, "I don't have any, I have many," was followed by a sudden shift in mood. He walked away, leaving her on the dance floor alone. At number 11, Carmen Electra, from 1991 to 1993. One of Prince's producers invited Carmen to try out for a girl group he was putting together. When she arrived, Prince was there. That first meeting left an impression. The band didn't work out, but Prince saw something in her and wasn't ready to let her go. He helped her with music, photo shoots, and even gave her the name Carmen Electra. Carmen later admitted she slowly fell in love with him, but she couldn't help noticing other young female musicians in his circle. There was always a sense that she wasn't the only one. After her debut album didn't take off in 1993, she decided it was time to move on. From rising stars to screen sirens, Prince kept inspiring and being inspired. At number 12 is Vanessa Marcil, in 1993. In 1993, Vanessa appeared in Prince's short film-style music video for Purgu. Her appearance in that video sparked instant rumors. People began to wonder if there was more going on behind the scenes between her and Prince. The chemistry was there, and knowing Prince's history of mixing work and romance, the speculation wasn't far-fetched. Still, neither of them ever confirmed the rumors. At number 13, Nona Gaye. Nona Gaye, daughter of the legendary Marvin Gaye, was only 18 when she started dating Prince in the early 90s, and like many before her, she fell hard for him. The relationship lasted 3 years, but in Nona's words, it was a whirlwind of head trips and mind screws. She admitted she never truly knew him, and never really let him know her either. Prince had reportedly proposed to Nona before the breakup, but one relationship stood out above the rest, the one where Prince gave his heart, his name, and ultimately faced his greatest loss. At number 14 is Mayte Garcia, from 1993 to 2000. Mayte was just 16 when she met Prince backstage in Barcelona. He'd seen a video of her belly dancing and was captivated. After finishing high school in Germany at 17, she moved to Minneapolis. Prince made himself her legal guardian. At 19, under Prince's instruction, Mayte began birth control, and their relationship took a romantic turn. Over time, she went from his muse to his wife. They got married on Valentine's Day in 1996. Later that year, Mayte gave birth to their only child, a son named Amir. Tragically, Amir passed away just 6 days after his birth. After losing Amir, Mayte suffered another heartbreak, a miscarriage. With each blow, their marriage began to unravel, and by 2000, their story ended in divorce. At number 15 on the list is Ananda Lewis in 2001. Ananda was the face of youth culture in the late 90s. By 2001, whispers began swirling about her and Prince being romantically involved. Though neither of them flaunted the relationship publicly, there was a certain energy between them that felt genuine. When news broke that Prince had died, Ananda's reaction said everything. In a raw and emotional post on social media, she wrote, "So many amazing memories, loving advice. So much I still needed to say to you. My heart is lead." At number 16, Manuela Testolini, from 2001 to 2006. Manuela and Prince met in the early 2000s, right after his divorce from Mayte Garcia. By Christmas Day 2001, they were married. For 5 years, they stayed out of the spotlight. Then, in 2006, Manuela filed for divorce. No scandals, no messy headlines, just a quiet split finalized in 2007. Neither ever publicly explained why. At number 17, Misty Copeland, from 2009 to 2011. When Prince set his sights on Misty Copeland, he wouldn't take no for an answer. At the time, she was a rising star in ballet. Copeland once recalled how Prince spent over a year tracking her down before finally getting her on the phone. He wanted her in his 2009 remake of Crimson and Clover. At first, he filmed the video with another dancer, but it didn't feel right. Within days, Copeland was in Los Angeles, improvising alongside him. Their connection went beyond the stage. She toured with him worldwide, and by 2011, rumors swirled that they were more than friends. By 2015, Copeland made history as the American Ballet Theater's first black principal dancer, a milestone she credits partly to his influence. At number 18, Bria Valente, from 2007 to 2013. Valente was just 17 when paths first crossed with Prince at Paisley Park Studios. At the time, she was an aspiring singer working with keyboardist Morris Hayes. By 2007, Valente was back in Minneapolis, and Prince brought her into his creative world. She lent her vocals to his Planet Earth album, and soon, their professional relationship turned personal. She later converted to Jehovah's Witness, the same religion Prince followed devoutly. Prince wasn't one to publicly flaunt his relationships, but he confirmed their romance in a rare 2010 interview with the Daily Mirror. Unfortunately, by 2013, Valente had moved on, marrying someone else. But she remained part of his story, one of the last women to share his life before his untimely passing. From his first love to final muse, Prince's love life was poetic, chaotic, and deeply human. Prince lived for passion, and every woman he loved became part of his legacy. Which one do you think left the deepest mark on him? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe to Celeb Love for more untold stories. See you in the next video.